Hi, I'm Sami, and this is the Career Kickstart Show. I am super excited because today I have Aladrian Goods on the show. Now, if you don't know Aladrian is a digital communications specialist turned UX designer who's based in Texas. In her own words, her entire career has been centered around connection. And today I'm really going to delve into her career story and how she has been moving and shaking throughout her career and on to her next chapter as a UX designer. So thank you, Aladrian, for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you, Sami, for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you here because I love UX designers. If you've been listening to my show for a while, you know that I love UX designers. I've been working with them for a while, and I'm always interested because they have unique paths. It's never just, something boring. It's always something where you work with someone, and even if they seem kind of humdrum, you find out, oh, never mind, they were in the Peace Corps or they followed, the Grateful Dead around for 10 years, and you're just like, what? So I love picking y'all's brains. But before I get ahead of myself, how about we start off, Aladrian, with you just saying, what is your elevator pitch for us?
Yeah, that's great. I'd be happy to do that. So like I said, my name is Aladrian Goods, and I am a communication specialist. And my career has started from tech marketing startups, right? Doing marketing and events, and then doing some freelance event stuff to digital marketing, where it's all really about telling stories of how to get new products to customers, how to get new music to music lovers, or how to even connect people with each other. I'm born and raised in California and currently living in Plano, Texas, where, as you mentioned, I work as a digital communication specialist for Lexus North America. And what really excites me about UX is it's the center where you can understand your users and then be empowered to actually create solutions that they actually want to see in the products that either they're already using or they're very much interested in using.
That is a fantastic elevator pitch, Aladrian. And for people who are listening who are just like, hey, why is she poking on the elevator pitch? It's because I also career coach Aladrian. So that was a trick question. And she passed.
All right, good to know. Good to know.
Yeah, you do well. Yeah, you know what? The hot seat. It's because I know you can handle it. So, but yeah, Aladrian. So the thing about Aladrian is that, as she mentioned, she's done a lot of stuff. But she actually started out at UC Santa Barbara doing communications. And now, when you started your journey, like back in the day, you know what UX design was? Was that something that you had been aware of, or like was this just something where when you started you were like, I want to be in communications, maybe PR, I don't know, something cool? Like, what was the motivation?
Sure. So actually I came into undergrad as I think it was like a sports management and biz econ major. And I remember the first day we were on campus and one of my friends in the hall, she was in Econ 1 and she was also a biz econ major. So when she had her book open, she just looked really stressed. And I looked at the book and I said, you know what? I don't like numbers. I like people. And the next best thing was the communication department. And for me, connecting with people is my gifts and it comes really easy for me. But I also wanted to use communication in order to solve real world problems, as well as create something that's innovative and that people would want to use. And, I thought I'd do that in marketing and events. That was my first job out of college. And then after I worked at that role for about a year, some friends started to work on this social music project. And I'm like, oh, well, this could be an exciting time to use my communication skills, be able to do some research, influence the design early of a project, try to, do our Facebook thing and be millionaires by 30 and everything's going to be fantastic.
I love it.
So that's kind of what that was. And I think that was back in 2012, 2013, where I first learned about design. But in my mind, design was either the graphics and the user interface of it and the development. So, the coding and making the thing actually work. But it wasn't until maybe 2015, 2016, where I was doing some research. I took this careers test online and like trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And UX design came up as one of the top 3 choices. I think the other one was like a writer and the other one was like a music artist. And I'm like, okay, neither of those are really going to work as a career for me right now at this point. So let's see what this UX design is about. And I did my research and I'm like, oh, whoa, this is actually everything I have the skills to do everything I have the skills to do naturally, like communicating with people, problem solving, getting people to tell me what they like and don't like about stuff, also paired with some really tangible design skills like the wireframing, the prototyping, and even some of the UI design. So I think 2015 is really when it all clicked. And from there, I've just been slowly trucking away of how to transition from this. I'm sorry if I'm rambling, by the way.
You're not at all. Like, actually, what I was thinking about as you were talking about this is the fact that what I admire about you and your background is the fact that you are willing to hustle and do a lot of different things. Like, you're an English teacher in Spain. You interned with the Kobe Bryant Academy, working
that was fun.
Your camp, coordinating like the transit. Okay, you have on here coordinating the transition of 800 campers. Now, I worked with a youth center and I had maybe like 30 at a time. I'm imagining like 800 like teens and like young peoples, and that just made me feel tired, but I imagine that was exciting.
Oh, it was so exciting. So yeah, Kobe Bryant and the Lakers, they usually have their camps at UC Santa Barbara, at least while I was there. And, I had the opportunity to intern for the camp. And, there was about maybe 25 interns. So we kind of had this plan of like, all right, we have to get these kids from the gym, which is like the center of campus, all the way to the dorm, which is maybe about, I would say anywhere between like a quarter to a half a mile walk. So what we did was literally, we did everything we could except have the kids hold on to a string and just like walk to. So we kind of made this like lane for the kids where like the interns, half of us would be, think of it like a Soul Train line for the kids, funneling them from the gym all the way to the dorm where they'd be staying for the night.
Oh my God, I love that. That's some good UX thinking, and also being able to translate a complex concept and just be like, it's just like a soul train. We're just moving them like a soul train down.
Moving like a soul train line. Here you go. Your turn. Get down.
Oh, I love that. And now the thing that I noticed is that you have been, not only with the hustling and everything, you're trying new things. Now, how do you, your natural inclination to try these new things, go for new projects, try to find hustles, how do you think that has affected your career path and what you've done?
Yeah, that's a great question. I heard someone say the worst they could say is no. So I just kind of ask. And in my career, people have kind of told me yes, or given me opportunities to take risks or try new things, And I think one example of that is a project I worked on called masterminds.org. And this was a guy, Julian Gordon. He's like a 5-time TEDx speaker who I met in a Starbucks coffee shop in like South Central Los Angeles. And he didn't know me from any other person in that coffee shop, but he was willing to give me a chance to do some digital marketing stuff for him. And I kind of just took on projects he had and kind of Googled my way through it, as well as like learned what works and what doesn't work. And I think for me, it just makes my career path or my background a little more diverse, and just shows that, I'm willing to kind of go out on a limb and make something happen. And if it doesn't happen, then I'm willing to like learn from that mistake. And then it's sort of like the UX process, right? Like done is better than perfect. And once you have something done, you can iterate on it, get feedback, test it, and then like redesign it to make it better the next time around.
Yeah. And I like that you talk about the fact that you just were talking to this person, just serendipity, and then you took the chance to go for it. Because not everybody does. They don't have the courage and pluck to maybe like talk to a person and then the follow through to be like, okay, someone's just given me a golden opportunity, not just to like work for them, but also to be part of their network, and you took it. Not everybody does that. You'd be surprised. There's a lot of open doors that people are like cats. They just stare at and then they walk away. You get what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get that. And it's sometimes you got to go for it. You got to take one step without even seeing the whole staircase, you know?
Yeah. And the thing that I think is cool is that this is also like sometimes people think about networking, portfolio building, side hustling as it has to be something that is like not fun or anything like that. But you've had plenty of fun. You were working with South by Southwest as a music channel volunteer. You were managing the day-to-day responsibilities or the Camp Coachella activities tent. You've done
Yes.
a bunch of different festivals that you've managed and worked with. Like, you've been able to have a real good time with your career. Like, how do you feel like, when you approach that, like, do you think like maybe you're approaching this at a different way than other people are?
Yeah, you kind of went down memory lane here. I those are some of the things I'm like, whoa, like I did do all those things. And I think those started when I was early in my career, and I was just really passionate and just eager to just add a new energy to spaces that I love to go to. You know, like how I got the Coachella gig was, again, talking to someone at Coachella. And my friend Kit, we're still friends to this day. She was like, like I need to like continue to work with you, and she introduced me to the person who was managing the Coachella activities tent. And that person ends up calling me on a random day in February the following year and was like, hey, would you like to work at Coachella? And I'm like, yes, duh, I would like to work at Coachella, But my thing for me is like, it wasn't about just getting like a free ticket and being paid to be at Coachella. It was like, okay, how can I make this better? Right. So what we did was an idea that I presented is like, hey, hashtag Camp Coachella. No one's using that. Like, some people are using it, but there's a real opportunity to really brand our experience here, because we have like thousands of people here the night before the festival ends. We have tons of activities that are going on. And for the first time, I think it was at Coachella 2014 or 2015, they started to use like hashtag Camp Coachella to promote the events. And I got to craft the tweets for that. So I think for me, it's really about like, looking at things that I'm interested in as like a fan of music, I went to the festival 2 years prior, but then getting in there and saying like, okay, how can I actually add value to this place in a way other people aren't really thinking about it. So I hope that answers your question.
It really does. And it's also something where I would say is that you're also bringing a sense of fun and adventure. And a lot of people bring a sense of dread to their career. And that's always going to be the thing. If you kind of like approach it as play, as fun, as you just learning new things about something that you're passionate about, it makes this sort of stuff give you energy as opposed to like making you go, oh, I got another thing I got to do, And that's what I like. That's what I like. I mean, it's why I like working with you as well, because I like being able to be like, here's ideas. And then someone's just like, scoop them up and then run. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, all right, cool. I got it. And it's what I love working with you too, is that I think we're always in alignment, and the energy you bring to our career conversations, I'm like, all right, I can do this. Even if I felt some little anxiety about it, you always bring that joyful candor to it. So I appreciate that too.
Thank you, Aladrian. And the thing that I really, because we're getting towards the end of the interview, but I can't leave this off because I want to know, what is your advice as someone has done marketing, who is working on career changes, who has like I would say a Mighty Morphin career? What would be like some of your best advice for maybe somebody who's thinking about UX design, or even if they're kind of in their career, but maybe they're kind of like stagnant? What is your advice for breaking into the industry? What's worked for you? What are you doing? Like, just give us some of your thoughts as someone who's in the trenches, making this thing happen for yourself.
Sure. Yeah. So for people who are considering jumping into the UX field or just trying to take the next step in their career, I think a lot of it is about the community you have around you, right? And the access to people who are where you want to be. I think, Career Foundry did a great job of sourcing mentors and tutors and career coaches like yourself and getting new designers like me connected with these people. But I think it's going the next step further and asking for introductions to people they know that might be valuable to your career path. And I really believe it's about relationships and also doing the work. Like, don't be afraid to go above and beyond and share value before you actually have the job. I think those are my two things. Like, definitely get connected, network, and ask the people close to you to make introductions to people in their network. And then also, like, just be ready to show your value, or at least have an idea of what it is that you would contribute to the field of interest or the department that you're eager to get into.
Great advice. And I would also add on to this is that Aladrian, like, for people who are listening, Aladrian is not just somebody who's had like a bunch of jobs and side hustles and stuff. She also like appears on a podcast. You've blogged on LinkedIn and stuff like that. Like, you're also engaging in the conversation. And I think that's something that people, they think, oh, some of this feels like it's so stressful to reach out or to do these things. But like, the thing is, you got to think about it as being part of the conversation. Every time you tweet, every time you go on to Medium, every time you go to like a meetup, you're part of the conversation and you do have something to say. Nobody has to like come down on high and be like, and thou, Aladrian, I dubbed thee someone of worth and people should listen to you. Like, nobody's ever going to do that. Like, you're going to be the one who's going to have to be your own champion. And I feel like, you know, looking at people like Aladrian and folks who are really like moving and shaking in this field can give you some good, solid ideas of like what's possible and what's out there, I think. Yeah,
agreed.
You're a good example, everybody. Everybody, if you want to know the teacher's pet and the person to like be in the study group with, it's Aladrian.
Hello.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I can honestly agree. And there's some benefits in being cool with the teacher and being cool with your professors and being cool with your mentors that takes your expertise to the next level. And it just, especially early in your career, it just gives you access to different things. So I'm all about it. Make friends with the people teaching the courses and make friends with the people hired to mentor you.
Just make friends everywhere. Networking.
Yeah, make friends everywhere.
Serious. Just think of it as I'm just making friends. You know, you've made friends all your life, you know, so you just gotta act human and people respond to that.
How about that? Exactly.
I know, it's just that simple. Now, Aladrian, we've gone through time and space in your career, your origin story, when you were bitten by that radioactive spider that turned you into a UX designer. Just joking. But like, you know, how about you tell everybody where they can find you online and like what maybe you might want to showcase, either your podcast or other things where you're moving and shaking.
Yeah, of course. You guys can find me online at aladriangoods.design. That's my current web home. And you can find me on Instagram at Aladrian_Noel. And I'll make sure that Sami has the correct spelling of those for you. And if you're interested in like music, Black culture, and film, I am a monthly co-host on a podcast called Creative Culture. And I'll make sure Sami has all those details. So you're welcome to follow me there.
Awesome. They will be in the show notes. Now, Aladrian, before we go, I got to thank you again because this has been fabulous. So thank you for being on my show.
Yeah, of course. This has been so much fun. I can't wait to do it again when I'm a real professional UX designer.
You're already a real UX designer. Just the next time I bring you on, you can be like that wise Yoda being like, gather around, my newbies. Let me bequeath my wisdom upon you.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. And thank you to everybody listening. As always, I'm Sami Gardner, and this is the Career Kickstart Show. Bye.
Change your career, change your life at CareerKickstartAcademy.com.